Alright, so I got my tippets here. Now you want to make sure that you don't let them cross. You gotta lay flat next to each other. And we'll tie those in right in front of that throat right there. And then we can just adjust them and rotate them on the hook shank here until they're lined up where you like them. I like that. Now at this point we'll go ahead and put a drop of head cement. Just a tiny drop. We don't need a whole lot. Once that dries, we can go ahead and set our wing. I went ahead and I married the wing ahead of time. This one has a lot of marrying in it, so I wanted to save a bit of time on this video. Okay, you can see here I've got the wing. It's a bit of a robust wing for this size fly, but when you're setting your wing, you want to make sure that you've got that nice canoe type shape under there. You want to make sure your tips are lined up right here, so that way those are nice and even. Make sure you've got that nice sloping angle at the tips. Now remember, when you're aligning your tips and you're getting ready for to set it, if you take it and you pull down on this side to give yourself that curve, you're going to pull this tip in a little bit. So instead, as like I did in my couple videos ago now, on the adjustment of feather tips and married wings, get that tip to be out a little bit longer, so that way you've got a bit more of an angle in there like that. And then take that canoe shape and just drop it down over the top of those tippets. That's okay if they poke up through. We'll take care of that in a minute. And you want to have the tip of your wing and this top part of it to line up with the tip of the tail. Alright, so you can let that drop down a little bit like this below the tail and adjust that in a few. Okay, so now get your hands positioned where you like it. Like that. The rear one was a bit out of alignment. Okay, that looks good. And then what we're going to do is just help it collapse. We're not moving these fingers. We're going to let these fingers just hold everything right in place where you had it. This side is where you're going to help it collapse down. By holding these firm and not letting them slip, and not letting any of the feather movement on that side of your fingers, that'll help you prevent an actual collapse where the wings pieces separate and then you wind up with a bunch of feather pieces that wind up coming apart. And then we take one loose wrap, and a second, and just let the bobbin hang, and then grab the wing on this side. I like to pinch and pull up on it, and And that'll help kind of position it underneath the thread. And then when you pull down on this, if it rolls a little, just pull it back. And there's our wing. I may have to do a little bit of adjustment. Some things seem to have shifted right here. And you see right here it's starting to slip. What I mean by slip is the wings are starting to split apart and wrap around the hook. You don't want that to happen. You want to prevent that. So untie. So I'm not quite happy with that. This could be just because I'm using so much material in the wing, because it is a bigger wing for this size fly. Okay, once adjusted out, the wing sits just a hair too long. Let's see here. Yeah, see how it's just too long? And make sure you pay attention to that. That's no good. So we'll shift the fly forward just a little bit, or the wing forward just a little bit. I'm just going to readjust these. Okay. And we'll go for 2. Nope. See what's happening. I'm glad this is actually happening so I can point this out. Right here it's coming apart, and right there, that separation is causing the rest of it to want to splay out and collapse a little bit. Okay, so I made a few adjustments on the wings and I'm ready to reset them. Here we go. Line it upright. Try to make a little bit of an adjustment right here. If we can look right here, alright, that's a little better. The wings are split apart just a little bit. And I think what was happening was the way the Argus that's in the wing was on its natural feather. It had an ever so slight curve to it. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so we've got our wings set. Just tilt the camera so you guys can see the underside, and the opposite side I should say. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we're just going to use a drop of head cement once again, right here. We're going to let that soak in for a few minutes, and then we'll get to the sides, topping and horns. Okay, as you can see, we've got the wings set. The adhesive head cement is dried. Now to put on the sides. Okay, when you're doing the sides on these salmon flies, a lot of times, besides being wood duck and teal, a lot of times you'll see that they're married together, like this, and then they go onto the side of the fly. So to do that, as you can see, I already have those done, but what I do, here's just a teal and a wood duck feather. And what we do is figure out how much you want, and use your dubbing needle here. And you go in here and you just separate out how much of it you want to use. Then you go over here and you clip the rackus. cut it on both sides of that spot, so that way you still have that center stem. And you do that with both the teal and the wood duck. As you can see here, the center stem is still attached. That keeps all your material in place, because if it gets misaligned and you're going to tie it in and something doesn't go right, teal and wood duck, once it starts to come apart, it becomes quite difficult to get it all back together properly and not have it be all uneven. And so by leaving the rackus on there, you're able to actually fix anything that might become a problem. So for orientation wise, matching the edge of the wood duck with the angle of the tail, not necessarily being the exact same angle, but having that same slope and that same directional slope. I know a lot of people will take a wood duck feather and, because of this natural curve, put it on the other side, and with that, you know, they follow that natural curve and want to naturally just put that on there. But it looks much cleaner, much better, and I believe it is the actual correct way to mirror that image, that angle. So now after you've cut your wood duck and your teal, you marry them together, which for ducks they actually do marry together quite well. So then you'll take these and kind of straighten them out a little bit from how they are on the rackus. And if you saw in my other video about how to position them, about feathers and how they move, we can then start to line up how we want these to sit and what angle we want them to have. I want to have a nice steeper angle on it. Just fixing the tip on this teal here. I was trying to hide behind the wood duck. Okay, that's the first side. And then there's the opposite side. Make sure this all, change the camera angle a little so you guys can see. Now while I'm doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to my other side right in place. And I'm going to back wrap just a little so I'm able to catch both on the same wrap. And then I'll do a second wrap and let the bobbin hang. And then while still holding pressure, you can kind of get it all into place, get it to sit how you want it. And you should be able to let go. And use your dubbing needle to make your adjustments. Get it to sit down further where you want it. This wing just wants to annoy me tonight. Okay. So we've got those about where we want them. Time for a little head cement. Just a light drop of it. I'm just trying to move this a little more. All right. While that dries, we will get out the jungle cock. We'll select our feathers for that. All right. Sorry about that. All right, that's a good size. Yes, I made a small mistake. I believe I should have put the jungle cock on first. Head cement's, it's drying. Maybe I can do this quickly. This is a bad time to actually try to save it. After the head cement's been applied. Oh boy. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is just strip away the back. A little more here in the front. I'm going to clip that away. And now you can look down the top of the fly, see that other jungle cock. You can line up right where this one's got to go. Same deal, we'll strip away most of what's down here. And then just snip a few. All it's snipping a few is doing is giving your thread a little something extra to bite onto, which kind of helps keep your jungle cock from rolling too much. Jungle cock does have a tendency to want to roll. Okay. Just look down from the top. I don't like it. Oh, well. Okay. Having a thread issue there. The thread was wrapping in the wrong spot from where I wanted it to wrap. Alright, now we can put on our teal again and wood duck. Okay, now we'll do another drop of head cement. Yeah, want to be a big head. Alright, I'm going to let that dry completely, and then I'll be back with you folks. Alright, we've given that a chance to dry. And we can just reposition a few things here. Alright, now the recipe also called for thin strips of bronze mallard. So I've done exactly the same thing that I did with the teal and wood duck, and I've taken just a strip of bronze mallard, and I've still left the rachis on there. What I want to do first real quick is trim off some of this excess stuff. Trimming away some of this excess material will help kind of make some room. Now, when you're using a razor blade to do this, just be careful of your silk gut or sub, whichever you're using. Be very cautious of it. Come on. And you don't want to pull either. There you go. If you pull on something and it's still attached, you'll pull that right out, and there goes your whole top half. And all that work that you did to get to where you are. Alright. Near side first. Alright, so we've got the bronze mallard. Probably not going to use any of that. And I want this roof to be a little bit thicker. You see right here. Let's see, where would that be? Kind of right in the middle of the tie-in point, so we're going to go above that. I think I like that. I'll go a little thicker, and then we'll just cut right there and right here. Leaving us this piece for the roof. And it's got this little short wispy stuff on the one side and the nice bronze on the other. We'll just strip off all that little wispy stuff. That's a big roof. So let's trim that down just a hair. Still a little big, I kind of like it. Alright, that'll be good. So now we've got a thicker roof. Check our length. There we are. So you want the roof to cover the wood duck, the teal, and basically you want it to cover right where it is. Hence why they call it the roof. Alright, we'll do the same for the other side real quick. here, snip some out. And then and just like we did before, we measured out what we're going to use. Clip it, and then clip it. Spring scissors aren't really meant for this, for cutting stems. And now on the other side, we do the same thing. Make sure it's got a nice curve to it. Have that curve follow the fly. It's just above the wood duck and the teal. And I'm not going to back wrap, or unwind, I should say. And I'm just going to wrap it. And I'm going to pinch it and hold it tight and position this with the rackus. Slightly too thick. Still a little bit. Yes, I know it's a lot of little strips that I'm making, but I have a box that I saved them in. So whenever I need them, I've got a box full of some bronze mallard pieces. Oh boy. And now I have no choice. Try putting them on a different way, just for fun. Set them on like a spay fly. Excuse me. I don't know what happened to my voice there. Isn't it? Actually, it didn't work that bad. Small adjustments, get everything realigned. Much better. There we go. This backside wing is a shade shorter than the front side. Excuse me, I'm not sure what's going on with my voice here. Alright, there we go. A little bit of adjustments takes care of most of the problems. And so does a little head cement. So we're going to hit that one more time. Quite literally just a dab. And while that sets up, we'll get our topping ready. Alright, so I've worked with a couple of different toppings, trying to get one figured out for this fly, and I think I've got a good one. I'm just doing a little shaping here. I want it to lay down on the wing as much as possible. I think that's going to sit good. So we're going to strip away our fluff from the tie-in point. Turn the rackets one more time and then we'll have another look. That is just a shade too long. Then what I do is I just take the crest, put it in my tweezers, and then bend right at the end where I want my tie-in point to be. Strip away any of those fluffy pieces, anything that's sticking out. Let's try that. That's pretty close right there. I know it sat like that more. I'm just going to tweak the tip a little bit. Now all I'm doing is just using my thumbnail and putting a little bit of pressure on right here. Just on that center stem, just a little pressure. If you go too much, you can kink it, and if you kink it, then you're going to be looking for a new crest. This one's on the border, unfortunately. Let's see what I got here. Well, these wings just don't want to stay aligned, which is not helping. See what's happening? The topping's curving. It's not sitting on there quite right. And when you put your wraps on, when you're wrapping, not just golden pheasant tippets, just about anything, you don't have to draw it down tight. You don't have to snug everything down, so to speak. Some things like golden pheasant tippets, if you snug them down, they get all out of whack. There's too much pressure on them. Alright, I think everything aligned right. I think that's going to look alright. I'm happier with that. I'll do some horns. Now for the horns, I'm just using blue and gold macaw center tail. And you use one piece of each from each side. When you apply these, each strip has a blue top and a yellow side. You want the blue on the top to be facing up. So for your near side one, that'll be this one. And I'm going to take this and follow kind of the angle of the bronze mallard. And then the far side one, do the same. Line that up kind of with the angle of the bronze mallard. Make sure the tips of the two macaw pieces are aligned. They're both the same length. Two wraps. Alright, I'm happy with that. One last drop of head cement. And we're going to put that more towards the front. Just about where that, just on those last pieces that you tied in. This stuff dries pretty quick, so. And then you're going to take your razor blade and we'll trim the head for this. And when you trim the head, you want to trim it gently and at an angle, if you can. And that way you can build up your head. But in the event that you create like a wall when you cut your wing material off, I'll show you how to make a head. I'm just going to let that dry for a moment. Make a few adjustments on the fly. the tips on the teal was very curved on these teal feathers that I used. And as you can see what's happening, that material wants to curve up underneath the tip of the wood duck. Makes it rather difficult to get everything aligned when it's doing that. Come on now. Of course, now the mallard wants to marry to the macaw. There we go. Alright, so now that I've sat here and fidgeted for a little while, I think that's dry enough. We can go ahead and shave this off. Now, what I'm going to do is leave, I can't tell you what the measurement is, but I'm just leaving a very little bit. A couple centimeters maybe. And as you can see, you'll get a little bit of material that's a little harder to get to. That's why one of these cauterizers is a great tool to have. And really just burn away anything that's sticking out that's in the way. Everything's still in place, perfect. You'll notice that the frame just switched and this head doesn't look like it did a second ago. That's because I already finished the fly and went through my outro, and after I did I realized I didn't put the cheeks on. So I went back and have actually pulled the head off of it, because I already had the head all made, and I pulled the head off it and got it ready to put the cheeks on. So I don't know how well this is going to go. This might not go very well, but it might work out. So we'll see. But yeah, I went and I deleted the whole outro and everything that I just did, so that way I could come back and complete the fly properly, and hopefully you guys can see where see that I made a mistake here, and now you can see what it looks like and how bad a head can get. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I might be able to salvage it still. I think I've said that a couple times in this video. So the cheeks are supposed to be Chatterer or Cotinga, but I'm substituting with Kingfisher. So I've got a couple of Kingfisher feathers. Boy, this is delicate, because when I was removing that head, I also took some of the thread with it that was holding the wing and everything together. So this all just goes together peacefully. That's one. Sorry for being so loud doing that. I know I'm right next to the camera. And then we'll look down the fly right here. Of course, that side wants to pop up. There we go. I think the cheek should sit a little bit higher, but let's go for right there. There we go. Close those off. And then we'll just cauterize the rest of those. Alright, now to build the head, I'm going to build that out of wax. Okay, now that should be relatively easy. All we got to do is take some of our cobbler's wax, and we're going to use a lighter to heat up one side, so some of it just melts a little. And then take that, run that on your thread, and then we're going to start going around the front here. Then you take your finger and push some of that wax into that space that you made when you cut all the wing material and everything, all the excess off of there. Push all that wax in there with your thumbnail. Or you can use like the butt end of your tweezers or anything like that. And that kind of helps form your head a little bit. Alright, now the other thing I started doing when I was first starting out, I had no idea about how to make a head or anything, so what I would do is heat up a little bit of the wax and then use a dubbing needle, get some of the wax on the dubbing needle, and I would put that right here. And if it started to solidify a little, just hit it with a lighter. I used to have a candle, like one of them little tea lights. I would sit here right by the desk, on the desk, and I would heat up the needle, and that's how I did it. And that's how I formed my heads. I know it's not the common practice, it's not how it's normally done, but it did work. It does work. For a fly that's going to go into a frame, it's perfectly fine, I think. See how you can melt the wax. And that goes right in, and see if I can get a little closer. And you just heat up the needle as much as you need to, and each time you heat it up, it'll just melt all the wax, and then you can spread the wax out as it's needed and where it's needed. Now in a moment I'll show you a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll cut that at an angle where you cut all that material. Cut that at an angle so that way you don't have that steep butt end, and you don't wind up doing this. Because this takes a while. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Like I said, it does work. So now you can just take your finger and as it hardens, or as it cools, it'll harden a bit more. And as it hardens, you'll be able to shape it. I've already done this twice, so unfortunately it's kind of getting all over. I'm trying to salvage this from becoming a mega head. I'm just shaping it with my thumbnail. And you see some spots where there's a little bit too much. What you can do then is heat up your needle again. But don't just do the tip, heat up a longer section of it. And then when that starts to melt, drag it through there. And then use a piece of cloth or something to wipe it off the needle. Heat the needle up again. And then just drag the needle through the wax. And that'll pull off a little bit of that wax for you. And once you're satisfied with the shape of it, I think this is about as good as I'm going to get, considering. Happy with the shape of it, you can add your black varnish. In this case I'm using Vinaird's Black Salire. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced. This, I'll try to leave a link. Well, I got it off of eBay. I'll see if I can find the link again. It is very thin. And it takes a little while for it to dry, so it will take, you know, overnight, and in the morning I'll do another coat. You just need a very thin coat of it over the wax. Some of it will also, it'll shrink down a little, some of it will dissipate as it dries. Another reason you want to do a couple of coats. After you do a couple of coats, it'll stay nice and round like that. And that is our finished Baron. Ready for a frame. Despite a few troubles, and just a couple of small things along the way, but this is our finished fly. Let's see how the other side looks. I'm sure it needs a little bit of adjustment. Oh yes, very much. On this side you can see that wood duck and teal have tried to hide. Kind of had a feeling that would be an issue, considering how that wood duck kept popping up the way it was. This is all. You just go through and you piece by piece pull them all down back into place. Yes, it's a little time consuming, but this whole process is time consuming, and this whole process is for this end result. So take your time with it, get it all lined up, looking good as you intended. Okay, and there's our completed Baron fly. Thank you so much all for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I had, it was full of a little bit of issues here and there, but hopefully you guys learned how to resolve some of those issues. And I really hope you enjoyed the video and the end results. This is one of my favorite flies. I just love the color pattern. I just love the way it looks. It's a really beautiful fly, and I'm really glad that you guys were here to watch me tie it. Hopefully you guys will take a excuse me. Hopefully you guys will take a shot at it and tie it yourselves. Like I said, I'm always around to answer some questions if you need to. Let's grab a drink. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. That helps me out. Knowing that I've got subscribers and that people that are interested lets me know that I'm doing the right thing and that I'm making the right videos. If you have any questions, if you've got any comments, leave them in the comment section below. I'll be glad to answer your questions. Same thing with requests. If you want to see a video on something, on how something's done, or you want to see a certain fly, let me know. I'll be happy to get to it. So with that, hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful night and happy time.